All right, so before we start, I want to invite you to imagine with me this utopian world that I dream about all the time, where artists are revered as courageous and powerful agents of cultural change. And in this same world, anybody, everywhere, has the ability to communicate freely and fearlessly about their own mental health. So these are two of the goals of Art with Impact. We are an organization that uses art and media to connect young people with ways of communicating and exploring their own mental health. Next. And to get us started, I want to show you one of our films. So this is called Rinse and Repeat. And to give you a heads up, after you watch it, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So pay attention, there's going to be homework. What I'm going to ask is, how did this make you feel? And what did this make you think? So as you're watching the film, notice yourself too. It's a mindfulness exercise. Explore and just observe what happens when you're watching this film, when you're hearing about this person's experience. What feelings come up for you? What thoughts come into your head? How can I get it? Well,
I've always been a precise person. Smudges on glasses, paintings that aren't straight, they irritate me. Make me feel uncomfortable. Being near something like that, knowing I could just reach out and fix it. So I always do. The problem I have is I can never get things quite right. Eventually I'll get to the point where I get fed up, so I just look away and tell myself, just forget about it. But I always look back. At that point, that's it. I'm gone. I start to develop the vendetta against whatever it is that's bugging me. It's got to be clean. It takes me a while to realise what I've done. But the point when I do, it's terrifying. I'll start getting frustrated. Then after frustration comes fear, and that's what people don't get. That's the part they can't understand, just how awful it is when you realise where you are. You see, some people are scared of spiders, others are scared of the dark. I'm scared that if I start cleaning a piece of glass, I'll never, ever stop. It sounds stupid, but I always find myself here, trapped. It's like quicksand. I'm stuck. My only way out is to get whatever it is that's bugging me clean, but I know it will never be clean. It can never be perfect. So the more I struggle, the more stuck I become. I tell myself all the time, just leave it. But I'm moth to a flame and I just have to do it. Slowly it settles in for me. Every time this happens, I realise this is it. This is what I'm doing forever now. So I keep doing it. I get more and more annoyed with myself every second. Eventually I always break down, I panic. Every time this happens, I'm reminded that this is the life I'm leading and it's killing me. I keep telling myself, you idiot, you absolute stupid idiot. Just stop. But I can't, so I'll just sit there, crying, cleaning, and the worst part of it all, when I finally get myself together, I'll calm down, pause, and then just do it all over again.
Aw, just imagine that is not like that. So how was that for you? What did you think? What did you feel? Stressed, right? What else?
Anxiety.
Anxious, yeah. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, sometimes I'm just like, I just want my body to be perfect, and it never is. It's like, I still want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. For those who couldn't hear, he was saying that, sometimes we want something about ourselves to just be perfect, and it isn't. So, this is what is so amazing to me about the power of film and the power of art in general, is this connective superpower, to bring back the ideas from this morning. And, okay. Yeah, so we have, and it's amazing. So this film that we saw, it came into our short film library in February 2013. And since then, we've shown them in 19 different colleges and universities in California, and these are which ones they are. And what I think about all the time and what makes everything so interesting and engaging is that in all of the times we've shown that, in the 1,500 or so kids who've watched that at an Art with Impact event and who have talked about it, nobody's ever received it the same way that you just did. No one has ever felt the same emotions as they watched this film as you just did. And this is the amazing connective power of art. I have been addicted, or maybe I should say captivated by this power since I was 4. That's when I started playing the piano. And music was a doorway to me. It opened up a whole bunch of opportunities, primarily the one that allowed me to put out into the world my internal self. So all of the emotions that I was feeling, all of the reactions that I was having to the world around me, the seriousness of those could be exemplified in music. Performing was another way in which I found my voice. I could connect with first myself, which was the critical piece, and then the audience as well. Then when I was in high school, I found my visual voice, and I discovered photography, which just blew me out of the water, because now I could show myself, I could show my feelings and what was going on with me without having to talk, without even having to make a sound. And through learning that visual vocabulary, I started to connect with other artists in new and exciting ways. When I was in college, I earned a BFA in photography, and I also did another one in social thought and analysis. And throughout high school and college, through that entire time, creating art and making art experiences for others. And so I organized exhibitions and concerts and plays and art gatherings, all sorts of things. That was a really core part of my identity, was my ability to create these places like this where you can come together and experience art together and have these amazingly personal experiences, but with other people. It's this sort of magic land. And then something happened towards the end of my undergrad, and that was that all of the sensitivity that made music make so much sense to me, that made arts make so much sense to me, turned against me. And my mood became almost entirely dark. At first, I was just numb. I couldn't feel anything. And then it became more and more disruptive, like the fire engine passing. It got to the point where I cried all the time. I slept whenever I possibly could. And I kept accidentally hurting myself. So I would be riding my bike and fall off, or I'd be walking and I'd trip on a curb and scrape my leg, or I'd cut myself cooking by accident. It was like my subconscious was trying as hard as it possibly could to show me that I was sick and that I was in pain and that I needed some help. And it's depression. And it was awful. I really admire people, and I'm impressed by them who say that they're thankful to their mental illness for things. Usually it's like courage in the face of adversity, but I don't feel that way at all. I hate depression. I wish it had skipped me. But I am really lucky in that I have a treatable form of depression, which means that as long as I stick to my treatment plan, I can remain symptom-free or catch symptoms before they become too disruptive to my life moving on. And so that's a blessing, and that's something that I'm very, very grateful for. Because depression, the way that I've encountered it and the way it has been for me, it's like an intruder. It's like somebody who breaks in to your life and then steals the things that you love, all the things that you love the best, like joy and beauty. And depression tried to do that to me. Depression tried to steal art from me, but it did not win. And I persevered. And as a result, I've been able to continue making art and art experiences. So I've had a lot of really amazing jobs in my career. But this one that I've got right now, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it, is the best. This is my dream job. It is ridiculously awesome. So we run a short film competition that happens several times a year, where filmmakers from all over the world are submitting short films, 5 minutes or less, about mental health issues. And what's so beautiful is the incredible diversity in culture and even background and language and even values sometimes. and yet the strong connectivity of like that we are all people and that we are all experiencing the world in the ways that we do. So we have our short film library, and then we get to put art to work. We get to use its superpower of connecting people to one another at in-person art experience events. So we have college events. This is one of our oldest programs. And we've done about 60 of these in the few years that we've been around, where that utopian world that I described for you in the beginning, where artists are makers of change and people talk freely and fearlessly about their mental health, that world exists for a couple hours at our workshops, and it's great. It's one step, right? We also do high school workshops where high schoolers, we give them tablets, we give them roles. There's directors and editors and directors of photography and actors and writers. We teach them filmmaking, we teach them about mental health, and they make their own 1-minute long films about mental health. And this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. We're a young organization founded in 2011. This next year is going to be pretty exciting. In the fall semester, we'll be launching at 15 different colleges and universities in Ontario. And then next spring, we'll be here in New England. So, especially you students, anybody who wants to partner with us, please talk to me, because we need speakers, we need schools, we need sponsors, we need everything. So I'm excited to bring this program out to the East and see what we learn from the art from the students that we work with. And I'm going to leave you with one last film. This was actually the very first winner of our short film competition, and it's by a young man named Misha Kessler. When he made this film, he was in college. He was the president of his Active Minds chapter at George Washington University. And his story of recovery and his ability to talk about it and share has led him into a whole career in mental health, where he's been really change-making and has won awards and appointments with like the American Psychological Association and the Jed Foundation and other things. But I'm going to leave you with his film because I believe in the power of stories, and I think art tells them best.